I just don't know where exactly. But
okay. Herbert Shisukane says, anyone with dimples should be considered physically disabled. No, it's not a disability, it's a defect. Karanja Tony says, good morning, tuned in. I'm with you in Udhiru. Have a good day. Good morning to you too. Wangi Juma says, I celebrate this customer care week. Oh, that's the thing. So anybody that sees you today as you are a customer, they should be greeting you properly. Roll out of the red carpet. Say, oh, my hallowed client.
Like what you're doing right now.
Exactly. This is customer care week, guys.
yeah.
And we're looking into it properly. You're happy with that dimple story? Tomorrow I'll give you another fact or information that you didn't know. Like when you were away, Dennis, I told them that a strawberry is actually not a berry because its seeds are on the outside. A banana actually is in the berry family. Did you know that? It is. A banana is a berry. Okay. But we can keep it moving, and I know people are going to want to go crazy. People, it's too early to talk about dimples on some parts, but why, Sakale? Never too early. George O'Connell says, good morning to everybody. The president just donated 50 million shillings for church and no capitation for schools. Don't even get me started, man, before coffee. Bill Kak Orwa says, good morning. It means that instead of complaining about challenges or blaming a situation, it's wiser to take action and move forward, even if the path is tough. In other words, progress. No? Yes. Joe Botena says, good morning, DND. Can't wait for the constructive conversation. Thank you so much for being here. CPA Ray says, salams from Ontario. Good morning. Anne Purnell is still pondering about Japan. Me too. I'm wondering how that poll in the Matatu is called Japan.
I'll ask Mr. Ruri.
Ask Mr. Ruri
Yes.
if you can reach him on the phone. By the time it's 10, we'll tell you.
Okay.
So no. Ian Zulu says good morning from South Australia specifically. Duke is here this morning. Good morning. And you say Maraga the 6 is our answer. Sindo. Moscow said updates on Waroko bus accident that happened yesterday at 6 p.m. That was horrible to see. We'll give you some updates this morning. Paul Njeki is also tuned in from Vaughan in Ontario. Habari Zenu Hapo Spice from Mogadishu says Brother Eric. And Ambassador Beja is tuned in this morning from Paddington. You can't say Paddington. You have to say Paddington. You pad slowly. The sisters, good morning. Kenya is a drama scene. Good day. Wow, okay. My prince says good morning. Wishing everybody joy and prosperity. Amen. Peter Chiari is tuning from Mombasa this morning and says, once you carry your own water, you will learn the value of every drop. Indeed. Patrick Jeru says, Guten Morgen, liebe Lut, tuned in this morning. Wunani is in Taita Taveta. You were right. Aseto, somewhere there. Okay, people are telling us now it's in Taita Taveta, Asante. It borders Kilimanjaro. Mkwama, you're greeting Mtuflani. Thomas Osoro says, good morning. Have a wonderful Wednesday, Asante Sana. Wambua says, serious business like inviting an expert to discuss the psychology of a Kenyan politician. All right. That's serious business. All right. Okay. Thanks, guys, for tuning in this morning. Always great to have you in the room as we get into things, and these conversations are absolutely necessary. This is the Situation Room. Forgot to tell you, if our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X, our audience on KTN, good morning. Karibu Sana as we get into the show, wherever you tuned in to radio around the country, in the region, and indeed the world. This is the Situation Room, and we're getting into it this morning. On the headlines this morning, I'm going to start with the Standard, Kenya's bold newspaper, headline there. Not our heroes. Kenya's national honours, once a badge of integrity and service, are now mired in controversy. A new shortlist of 60 nominees for state awards has triggered outrage after it emerged that several contenders, among them MPs and senators once accused of corruption, hate speech, fraud, and even murder, are being considered for top decorations. Critics warn that the system meant to celebrate patriotism and heroism risks being reduced to a reward scheme for the politically connected. Of course, it follows with a pictorial. Kimilili, Member of Parliament, Didmas Barasa is there. William Kamket, Tiati MP is there. Fred Kapondi, Mount Elgon MP is there. And John Waluke, Sirisia MP, is also there. Do with that information as you would. I've told you. Medics strike, families mourn, dead children. I cannot resonate with this. Okari, even as we would look for the positive, I'm sorry, but any situation that can save a child and then doesn't, I find it very, very, very difficult to resonate with that.
Totally agree.
I cannot. That children, especially when something could have been done to save a child, this child is innocent. They have no they do not partake in any of the circumstances that brought about their death. You know what I'm saying?
We have modern day pharaohs.
Nah, come on.
These are modern day pharaohs.
Come on.
Who've decided to weaponize systems to kill their own.
I find it very, very, very difficult to reconcile with a system that's quiet when children, the most innocent of them, are dying. No,
it's a very dangerous path.
I can't. Shah faces collapse over 76 billion shilling hospital debt, and lawmakers are warning now that, guys, we need to look into this thing. Members of Parliament, especially in the Health Committee, are having a conversation and are summoning folks to the House to talk about it. Court of Appeal affirms check on spouses eyeing riches in marriage. If you are coming for me for my money, for my ego, the court has confirmed a judgment that spouses who give nothing to a marriage should walk away empty-handed. You don't bring a thing, you leave like that, the way you have come. That's what the court is saying. And it's going now to the appellate court. So they're going to probably stamp a further judgment on that. Questions linger over the integrity of nominees listed for state awards. Of course, that comes in. Students stuck as dons clash over 7.9 billion shilling dues. Just in case you were wondering, university lecturers and staff are still on strike. And they're saying, boss, this thing is not a come and go story. Pay us and we come back. There's no other way. That's the way we're going to deal with it. And we're still looking at coming into the semester where when students went back to school. We know some universities are trying to call students back to school, but then they're saying, come back to school to do what? The lecturers are not lecturing, so what are we going to do? There's that story, bothers me some, quite on page 9 of the Standard. Agony for families after losing newborns amid doctors' strike. And we are being told that there's no strike, that doctors are working. So why are babies dying? That's the question. It's tough, man. Former UN boss fights to recover millions from city politician. Years later, Eritrean sought over 634 million shillings from investment deals. It's a big story. We'll look into that detail later. Over to you, Aseto.
Yeah, let's go to the Daily Nation. And as well here, it's all about Shah now. More pay, but less benefits. Now, here's a pictorial of cancer patients suffer pain of inadequate cover. And cancer patients protesting outside Afia House in Nairobi, where they presented a petition yesterday calling for an improved oncology package under Social Health Authority. Now, 1 year after the launch of the Social Health Authority, which is funded by hefty statutory deductions on workers' incomes, cancer patients are demanding a better oncology package, saying the current scheme is insufficient. Many say they are forced to pay out of pocket for life-saving care. Those unable to pay have had to abandon treatment after exhausting their cover. I actually witnessed this yesterday. I was in town shooting some product, and I saw them really sad. Now, tax waivers, immunity for UON boss Dutch firm. House Committee has granted massive tax exemptions and immunity to Dutch firm associated with the Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Professor Patrick Vakigen. Staff of the Global Center on Adaptation will have immunity from prosecution and enjoy a raft of tax relief while in the country. Now, their spouses, dependents and relatives will be accorded similar perks. Last year, President Ruto appointed the professor and CEO of GCA to the university. Now, secret diaries on Shakahola horror help prosecutors, and handwritten notes by a cult member on events at Shakahola Forest over 8 years are part of the evidence before court in the trial of sect leader for the killing. Like they say, there is no perfect crime. Yes. Inside overseas employment plan for jobless tutors. Now, the Teacher Service Commission is exploring foreign jobs for many unemployed teachers. The policy establishes an updated database of teachers available for jobs abroad. Question is, have we absorbed enough teachers in our own education system before we start sending them abroad? But then again, from the teacher perspective, if I can't get job locally, I might as well go outside.
Yep.
Catch 22. Now, politics. Sifuna camp battles Gachagua project tag. Kenya Moja Alliance, led by ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, has now attacked impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua for labeling other opposition leaders as state projects. This is part of the conversation that he had with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and he threw jabs at Kenya Moja members of parliament.
Not surprised.
Yeah. Okari, una nini?
Well, let's look at the Star very quickly. The headline, Fresh land payout scandal hits mega Ketraco projects. This story reads like a movie. At least 4 billion in compensation remains unpaid to landowners. But shock on you, there is some money that has been paid to some individuals as top-up money.
For what?
Nitakwambia tu. Hivi karibuni.
Okay.
Cancer patients protest inadequate SHA coverage. Cancer patients and caregivers yesterday presented their grievances at the Social Health Authority offices in Nairobi. Yesterday, yes, that was yesterday. Lawmakers back enhanced proposal for school-based ID registration. So a parliamentary committee has backed a proposal seeking to boost funding for the National Identification Card drive targeting secondary schools. Members of the National Assembly's Budget and Appropriation Committee said the initiative will fast-track the issuance of national IDs to students reaching 18 years, therefore easing future voter and service registration. And then government to shut rogue sites and social media accounts. So MPs have endorsed the government move to tighten Kenya's digital space through a far-reaching law targeting cybercrime, online child exploitation, extremist content, fake news, identity theft, and SIM card misuse. So the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Bill 2024 is in its final stages. This is a must read, by the way. There's some interesting things in there, some very good proposals. For example, the pulling down of content that is harmful because the bill also grants courts authority then to order deletion of content from social media. Then AG is set to launch legal aid centers across the country. There's a tragic story here of an elderly man who died at court during hearing of his case. A man who had the matter pending before the Environment and Land Court in Bungoma died on Monday morning within the presence of the Bungoma law courts. According to a statement from the judiciary, the elderly man, who appeared visibly unwell, was brought into the court compound around 9 a.m. on a motorcycle. Court officials said he was immediately attended to by a customer care officer who issued him a priority card, a document given to elderly persons, expectant mothers, persons with disabilities, and the sick to ensure they receive expedited services. Unfortunately, he said he's waiting for his lawyer, and he went to the grounds, kupumzika kidogo, and then when they went to check on him that his case was next, they found him dead. I'll tell you this Ketraco story a bit later, but let me move on to this other story. So, repaint or close. City orders house owners. So the Nairobi City County Government has issued a final 14-day ultimatum to property owners, tenants, and management agents to repaint and clean their buildings or face penalties, including closure and prosecution. In a public notice signed by Acting County Secretary Godfrey Akumali, the county directed that all buildings within the Central Business District here in Nairobi, Westlands, Upper Hill, Ngara, Kirinyaga Road, and designated shopping centers must undergo immediate repainting within 14 days and sanitation to meet housing and public health standards. The notice warns that failure to comply constitutes a contravention of the law and will trigger statutory closure orders and legal action. This notice takes effect immediately and shall remain valid for 14 days only. Failure, neglect, or refusal to comply within this directive will lead to closure orders. City Hall announced that fees for repainting permits have been waived for the 14-day period. So you don't need to get a permit then to do it, because previously you must pay to get a permit to paint your building. You just can't wake up and decide you're painting your own building.
So interesting, isn't it?
Let me tell you, you need to read the city bylaws. You will find some very, very interesting things.
So the bylaws are like you can't cut trees, you can't do so many things.
A lot of things. There's a time you can't wash your car. You know how people park their cars outside your gates and you are washing your car? It's illegal.
What do you mean?
According to the bylaws, you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. You can't just now you're parking your car outside Umetuma, somebody is washing your car outside your gate. You can't even paint your gates.
Wow. Okay.
You can't keep chicken in your homestead. The chicken that you're talking about.
So it was against the law?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me this before? Do you see now? Why didn't you tell me before? This chicken that was tormenting us for months. So somebody made it soup.
Shouldn't have chicken. The bylaws are very, very interesting. So Kenya Power posts 24.5 billion profit for the year ended June. The firm's board has recommended a final dividend of 0.80 per ordinary share. What on shares Kenya Power? Mesikia maneno. So, 5 siblings fight in court over where to pray for mom's body. Pro bonus driver found with 11 stab wounds near JKIA.
Ouch.
I think I'll come to. Do I come to this story later? This
do it
is a
now.
fresh land payout, or I do it now?
Yep.
Do it now.
Okay, let me do it quickly. So now, 4 billion. How much?
4 billion.
4 billion of unpaid money. Findings are revealing how unscrupulous officers may have transformed the vital public process into a multi-billion shilling cash cow. So, forensic audits has laid bare the plunder, financial impropriety and mismanagement in the compensation of thousands of Kenyans whose land was acquired for major energy projects. There was a time when people were actually notified and were told that, look, there are power lines that are going to pass through here. So what you're going to do, because you go kwa shamba yako, we have to mpaka itapita hapa. But then we're going to compensate you. And a lot of landowners are saying, okay, fine, if you're going to compensate me, let's look at the value of my piece of land. Kama mnanilipa, ni sawa. See, that was the deal.
Yeah.
So the findings now reveal how unscrupulous officers and well-connected individuals may have transformed the vital public process into a multi-billion shilling cash cow. Auditor General Nancy Gadongo, September 2025 report scrutinizes 7 donor-funded electricity transmission line projects implemented by KETRACO. The report has uncovered a web of irregularities where at least 4 billion in compensation remains unpaid to landowners. They have already given out the land for the power lines, but they are still looking for their payments. Now, while millions more was squandered through overpayment. So there are 2 issues here. One, there is 4 billion in compensation that remains unpaid. The second issue is while more millions were squandered through overpayments, fictitious claims, and blatant violations of procurement and financial laws. So how did this happen? So the 7 projects, including the high-profile Ethiopia-Kenya and Kenya-Tanzania power lines, were intended to boost regional power trade and stabilize the country's main grids. Now, instead, the Auditor General tells a sad tale of how the very people meant to benefit from the development were left in limbo. So the exploitation plays out across all the projects, putting on the spot the National Land Commission, the implementing agency KETRACO, and the Energy Department. So in Ethiopia-Kenya line, for example, KETRACO paid 8.3 million to 7 landowners for parcels of land that were no longer affected by the final transmission route. So the real owners were not paid. But you remember when they were doing their feasibility studies, so today, inakaa itapita kwa shamba yako. But then as they're doing the study, they realize, no, let's reroute this to somebody else's property. So you'll not be a beneficiary. So there is no point you continue doing what you're doing. But there are people who are paid money whose land was no longer affected. Now the line had been rerouted, yet the compensation once paid was never recovered. There is no evidence of any effort to reclaim the public funds. At the same time, dozens of landowners along the Ethiopia-Kenya line received unexplained second payments, dubbed top-ups.
For something that you were not supposed to be compensated for in the first place. They even gave you more money.
No, you have been paid, but there is a second payment that comes.
Okay.
For what?
24 million.
For what?
It's a top-up.
It's a top-up.
Top-up for what?
For top-up. I wish I could tell you for what.
You deserve it. For being patient. Or for giving us your land.
Yeah, tunashukuru sana. Ulitupatia shamba tukaweka line ya stima. So tunakuongezea top up.
What was the name of that monkey in The Lion King? Rafiki.
Rafiki.
To have that moment when he needed to just breathe for the world to calm down for a minute so we can get off. There was no 24 million shilling that was paid to people who own that land. That 24 million shillings is the same idea as ghost schools and ghost workers. It was paid to somebody, but it had nothing to do with the people who had that land. So 4 billion that was essentially supposed to be paid to Undu Oko because the line is passing through your piece of land. You never received that money. Now, Aseto here, who offered this piece of land, now still make a pita. So you are given 1.8 million. That's the value of your shamba. 1.8 million. Then later, these guys are like, you know what? Wacha tukupige top up ingine ya 1.8 million. Ndio nakwambia, ende ulize Aseto kama alipata hiyo top up ya 1.8 na atakwambia onge.
In explanation, they will say his land was infested with a lot of, what do you call it? There was a potential for clean water, so
But you see, that's the explanation in the books. But what I'm telling you is that you didn't get that 1.8. But in the books,
I
it
did
says
not.
we topped up
Yeah.
Aseto 1.8 million, and here is the payment, whatever. But the money actually never
Never
went
got to
to you.
Aseto.
This is the problem. Because now, when you look at the records, according to what Nancy Gavongo is saying,
Yes.
this extra money was paid 24 million. On why are we paying again? See, you've passed through. You have already built, or were you taking it down and building again? So number one, why is a top up being made? Who is asking and doing the interrogation in terms of why are you topping up? What is the purpose of this top up? Number one. Number two, can you verify undeniably that money actually went to the top uppies? Is that what you say? The top uppies.
You know what you've explained is exactly what has happened.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not difficult to compute these things. So it's exactly so the top up. There's a likelihood. Aijafikia Aseto you top up.
come
No, the top
on.
up is yours. This thing is worse. It's bad.
away.
It's bad.
You know the saddest part is you look at the value of the land is 1.8 million. So how come the top up again is 24 million?
Me, I'm asking you, did they go back and come back again? Oh, just
Anyway.
you were saying it gets worse.
In the Ethiopia-Kenya line, only 157 out of how many? 2,638 parcels were physically valued.
It's not even
157 out of 2,600.
not even
Now, the criteria for selecting the samples and the methodology for extrapolating the values were never provided. This opened the door for massive and untraceable manipulation of figures. For example, the sampling fraud in the Ketrako cases had direct consequences on some of the projects. In the Kenya-Tanzania project, 58 parcels of land were overvalued by a staggering 133 million. So somebody decides, this value, tunaona hii shamba yako is a quarter of an acre ama ni 1 acre. Tunaona hii shamba yako. The real value will be, let's say, 3 million. They'll say, hii tunaona ni kama 16 million. Yes, mnaona 16 million. Tuweke kwa kitabu, 16 million. So, they put 16 million. There is nobody who does any checks or any balances.
yeah.
The corruption has gone to the high heavens.
To the dogs. I'm telling you, there is no way you can ask anybody to reconcile with something like that. You guys, we had a woman who sat on this stage, and if you cannot make the connection between corruption and the lack that you see in society, then there's a problem. Somebody can come and tell me, oh, Ndu, why are you making noise? That's land parcels over here, and this is education over here. No. It's all connected. Or that somebody can't afford a hospital bill, or that we can't see that we can have proper roads, infrastructure that's leading farmers from, market to, from farm to market. These are the things that we're talking about. That in the light of corruption, look at the things that suffer. So yes, there's a direct line you can draw between somebody who is topping up 24 million shillings that's unnecessary, that didn't go to that individual, and a woman who cannot send her son to school to sit Kepsea in the next 1 week because she owes 33,000 shillings. 33,000 shillings is what she owes. And here there are people paying themselves 24 million, 133 million shillings. And you want to tell me that you'll be okay?
You know how serious you can be implicated. Let me tell you how serious this thing is. There is a group of people. This is another case within the same report. Payments were made without acceptance or agreement. So they write to you, Ndu, do you accept to sell off your land for this project? Yes or no? So you're given an offer letter. So you have to accept it or reject it. Now, in this case, 17.8 million was paid to 65 individuals who had rejected offer letters.
Wait.
So this is what it means. Payment was made without the acceptance and without executed agreements.
So I didn't even accept this money that you're
But the
supposed
money
to-
was released.
But now, so did it get to
Did
me?
it get you?
You know how it is? Give me a copy of your title. So see, I have your documentation.
Right.
I've sent you an offer letter. So you are rejecting the offer letter. I will decide, you know what? Tutalipa hata kama.
Yeah.
The payments are made. Now the question is, did this money get to those
That's what I'm telling you.
people? Because money has been released.
Now, on the back of that, that's why you understand what I'm saying. Even this top up, if the number one money did not reach, is it top up that will reach?
If agreements did not reach, you
Come
think top up will?
on. If somebody declined a payment because of whatever reason, then you want to tell me I paid by force, then now there's another opportunity for me to get more money, then I come and pay you by force again. You think that person accepted? Man. Jeez, man, I don't know. Mr. Seto.
It is sad. So let's look at this story of Mackenzie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, missing Mackenzie followers' diaries spill Shakahola's secrets. Despite his appearance in the wilderness, a journal kept by Moses Kahindi during his time in Shakahola Forest is now proving crucial in helping the prosecution understand events that unfolded before the tragedy became public in April 2023. Mr. Kahindi had been a member of the Good News International Church led by preacher Paul Mackenzie since 2008. His sons, Mr. Jimmy Mganga and Mr. Samuel Mwavita, described him as a meticulous record keeper who documented every aspect of his life in the forest. Now, his notes, contained in 4 books and several papers, have been handed over to the prosecution and the police investigating the Shakahola massacre. On Monday, Mr. Mganga and Mr. Mwavita appeared before the High Court. Before High Court Judge Diana Mochachi in Mombasa. They confirmed that the handwriting in the diaries was their father's. They said he vanished after writing his final wishes in the forest. And they say, my father kept records of church activities from March 2015 to March 2023. Mr. Mganga testified during the hearing in which Mr. Mackenzie and 30 followers are charged with murdering 191 children. One diary shows the time when Mr. Kahindi and members of his family left their home in Sosobora village, Malindi sub-county for Shakahola. The dates and subheads were written neatly under the guidance of Senior Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions, Jamia Mina. The court was informed about some of the entries in the diary that were relevant to the case. So it is a question of prosecution now going after Mackenzie and using information that was from one of the men who starved to death.
I'm surprised they were allowed to keep diaries.
Yeah. Me too. Very
But
surprised.
Kahindi is one of the main suspects.
Yeah.
So you even have time to write and diarize the craziness and the madness
While
that was
you were
going
doing
on
it.
While you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you still... This thing, I think, will be serialized into a movie or a series by somebody.
Somebody's probably already working on it right now and is already,
Yes.
probably talking to J.J. Abrams.
Because as this man pens this down, he paints the real picture of what is happening in the forest, as 100 and something children die and all that. It's documented.
Oh, hang on. So this documentation is by one of the suspects? Is by one of the charged? By one of the charged? Or who wrote this?
Moses Kahindi.
And he's one of the suspects.
He's one of the suspects?
Or who is this Moses Kahindi?
I think he's one of the people who are in the forest.
He was in the forest,
Yeah.
but he's deceased.
Yeah, because I think he's deceased because here it is
Who,
said
Kahindi?
this man. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because they're
Maybe there's
saying
another Kahindi.
these was the last things he wrote before his final words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think
So
there's
he's
another
not the
Kahindi.
perpetrator.
I think there's another
There's
Kahindi.
another
Yeah.
Kahindi.
Okay, so this particular one is not
Yes.
it's not one of the perpetrators per
Yes.
se.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the diary of Anne Frank, that he was
Yes.
writing down the things that they experienced while they were under this, persecution, torture.
Yes.
However, it's interesting because there's a book, I need to bring it for you guys. It talks about actually the operations or the life of a would-be psychopath and the things that they do. You would be surprised that they're actually very meticulous in nature. So it wouldn't be surprising that they actually document some of the things that they do.
Yeah.
They film it, they write it down, they draw it.
Oh, snap.
It's crazy. Read some of this stuff. You get an interesting understanding of how folks actually operate.
But
This
you know-
one is
Here
this.
we're talking about 191 children who died.
Yeah.
And all these have been documented by this man. And you think about it and the prosecution that takes place. And aside from the matter, we just asked, where did humanity go? How do you just sit there as 191 children starved to death?
Whatever we've
And-
done to this generation, whatever's been done to those kids and their
Kids, yeah.
generation, and now currently what's happening to how you're destroying a country,
Yeah,
it's unforgivable.
It's unforgivable and it doesn't go unpunished, that's for sure. These are conversations that we're having. We're getting into health conversations this morning. We'll get into it in just a bit. Good morning, 7 o'clock.